Speaking of David, I would like to welcome him on stage right now. We are so excited to have him with us today. David actually began his marketing career selling print yellow pages to business owners in the late 90s. But when the internet came along, he quickly adopted the technology and started helping business owners transition their traditional media to digital strategies. He was one of Google's first certified AdWords trainers. He has sold or consulted business owners on nearly every internet tactic that has come along, and today he travels the country talking about geofencing and connected TV. David's experience helping business owners to make the digital pivot makes him the ideal person to kick off our conference for us, so please help me welcome David McBee.
Thank you. Did I hear a woo? That excited? Because this big famous celebrity is here, right? Like some of you are wondering, like, should I know who this guy is? Right? No, the answer is no. In fact, I'm going to start with a quick story. Several years ago, I was speaking at a conference for the American Rental Association. It was made up of people who own tent and party and equipment rental companies. You guys probably have one of those around here, right? And their keynote speaker was none other than Magic Johnson. And I was like, so cool, I'm speaking at the same conference as Magic Johnson. And then I was like, what the hell does Magic Johnson know about local business? Like, what is Magic Johnson going to say to these people to really help them grow their businesses, right? And you're nodding your head. Some of you are like, hey, I'm sure Magic Johnson has a wonderful, enthusiastic, positive story. And that's what keynote speakers do, right? Well, that's what celebrity keynote speakers do. I'm no celebrity. I am a subject matter expert, right? And I always tease, my dad says, an expert is just someone who knows a little bit more than you do about something, right? There's probably people in this room who know more about some internet products than I do, but the reality is, I'm kind of the right guy for this job because, as Tiffany mentioned, I have been working with or consulting local and small and medium businesses for nearly 20 years. So because I'm not a celebrity, you don't know me, I do want you to know a little bit about my story. Let's make sure this clicker works. This clicker's not working. All right, you pull out the USB thing, you plug it back in, you try again. We're going to get this. Okay. That was a digital pivot. So I did start out in the Yellow Pages many, many years ago, right? And I loved selling Yellow Pages. Any of you guys advertised in the Yellow Pages back in the day? Do you still? Probably not, right? The Yellow Pages was the first of the traditional media to just get hammered by the digital era, right? Google came along, and I was lucky enough to be with a company. I was with Dex Yellow Pages at the time, and they embraced internet marketing, right? They said, all right, we're going to sell internet Yellow Pages, we're going to sell some websites, a little bit of Google AdWords, and I embraced it. I got on it. I loved it. In fact, y'all are looking at the division contest winner for digital sales in 2004. That's right. I won a huge big screen TV. I mean, this thing was 42 inches wide. I think it cost about $1,000 at the time. You can get the same TV now for $9 at Walmart, right? But I loved selling digital. And I sold so much of it that they decided to make me the internet marketing trainer so I could teach the other Yellow Pages reps how to sell internet. They flew me out to Google, to the Googleplex, isn't that a fun name for a building, right? In Mountain View, California, and I learned a couple of fun things there. I learned how important it was for a business to be on the first page of Google, and I also learned that people in the internet industry don't wear suits, none of them. They all wear jeans and shorts and t-shirts, and I was like, I like that. It was kind of like the pandemic. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. I've been doing most of my presentations on Zoom. I almost forgot to pack pants. I would have shown up in my cargo shorts. You'd all been like, that's real professional. Anyway, I'm the guy for this job. I have been working with small and medium businesses on this exact topic, right? Today, I am actually the national trainer for a targeted advertising company. Now, you guys know what targeted advertising is? You know what? I'll call it I'll use the term my mother uses, the Big Brother ads. You guys know those? The stalker ads? You're shaking your head, right? Like, you see the ad and you're like, how'd they know I was shopping for that, right? That's what I do full time, is I teach business owners about that particular technology. But because I come from this diverse background, I actually have, I've worked in SEO, paid search, social media, and of course this targeted advertising, and now we're talking a lot about streaming TV. So, all that to say, no, you shouldn't know who I am, but you're in the right place because I'm going to talk to you about making a digital pivot. Now, the folks at Grow Nebraska called me up. In fact, I've been meaning to ask you, Tiffany, how'd you find me? Did you find me on the internet? Yeah. Hey, that's good. I'm doing something right? So they called me and they said, you look like you might be a good fit. And I said, yeah, this is my bread and butter. I can do this topic. And then I got to thinking about what a challenge that is. How am I going to speak to a room of 100 people about making a digital pivot, knowing that you all are in very different levels of digital savviness, right? In fact, let me ask you a question, and don't be embarrassed. Raise your hand real high if you still use a flip phone. Anybody? Anybody? There's usually one. No? All right. We've all made that digital pivot. Does anybody here build websites for a living? Anybody? Oh, back in the corner, these guys do? All right, so they probably know more than me, and they probably know more than the person who is really just now getting new digital information. So I realized I have to figure out a way to talk to all of you in a way that's valuable, right? Now, if we were sitting together one-on-one, if it was just you and me, this is what I would do. I'd pull up your website. And I would say to you, hey, your URL isn't secure. Your website's not mobile responsive. You don't have the right keywords here and there. Your product descriptions are terrible. They need to be more robust. Too many photographs, not enough photographs, whatever it might be, right? I might also pull you up on Google. And I might say, hey, you know, you're ranking real good for your own name, but you're not ranking so well for the most important keywords of the products and services that make you the most money, right? I might look at your search results and say, hey, this is how many people are searching for your business. This is how much the clicks would cost, and here's how much you could spend, and these are how many leads I could get you. That's what I would talk to you about if it was one-on-one and in person, right? Well, we're in person, not one-on-one. I might pull up your social media, and I might say, hey, you're posting way too often, or you're not posting enough, or your content is way too salesy, right? And you're not using enough of the 3 E's. The 3 E's, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. And then I would pull up your traditional media, and I would see what you're doing. Radio, TV, billboards, print, right? And I would offer you the digital counterparts that are often as effective, if not more effective, than their traditional counterparts, right? And they come with a few benefits, like more targeting, less wasted ads, ads to the right people at the right time, and the most valuable thing you can get from a digital campaign, attribution. Attribution is the ability to measure the effectiveness of your campaign so that you can figure out your return on ad spend, your ROAS, or as most of us refer to it, ROI, return on investment. And in fact, just a quick plug for myself later on today at 2:15, that's what I'll be talking about. ROI, I'm gonna stand up here and I'm gonna give you a mathematical equation that you will be able to use for the rest of your life to determine if your advertising campaigns are working. Does that sound good? Yeah. All right, so if I don't bore the crud out of you this morning, you come back at 2:15 for that. All right, so that's my challenge. And I'm so sorry, I'm just like stuck to the laptop now since this wasn't working. I really wish it had. Now, I don't think I can accomplish all of that, but I can do 2 things. Number one, I'm gonna get you to think. I want you to think about the digital landscape as a whole, and specifically how it applies to your business and how you can use some of these digital strategies to improve your business. And the other thing I really hope to do is to get you to act, to get you to go home and actually take action. Sure, I bet Magic Johnson's speech was very entertaining and motivational, and everybody left the room feeling good. But I actually want to give you some homework, some things you can do that are tangible that will help you grow your business. All right. So that's a long introduction, all that to say, hey, this is the right guy, this is the right topic, and we're going to dive into this presentation. Y'all ready? All right. know I said y'all. By the way, I didn't say that because we're in Nebraska and I'm trying to fit in. Like when Garth Brooks shows up wearing your team jersey, right? I actually say y'all. I'm from Kansas. By the way, do you know what the plural of y'all is? No, it's not y'alls, it's all y'all. It's all y'all. So all y'all ready? All right. We're going to start out by talking about the purchase funnel. You guys know how this works, right? You put prospects in at the top, they come out the bottom as loyal customers. Real simple. Not that simple. People go in, they learn about your competitor, they leave the purchase funnel, right? You have a hard time getting them in at all. Or maybe when it comes down to the purchase, they go somewhere else, right? What I'd like you to do right now, I see some of you are taking notes, I'd like you to write down on your notepad where you think your business is struggling the most on that scale, right? Are you having a hard time getting the word out about your business? Do you have the greatest beef jerky on the planet and just you can't tell enough people about it, right? Maybe you're fine on that. Maybe you have a hard time getting people to buy from you and they just never click the purchase button, right? So write down right now where you think that you are struggling. And here's why. I'm going to go through all these different digital media tactics. I'm going to give you a little bit of what I call a McBee nugget. It's like a crispy golden nugget, right? And this nugget is going to help you exceed in these particular strategies. But the biggest problem is you may feel very overwhelmed by all that I've got to share. You may feel like, oh my gosh, that's too much, I can't do it all. And when that happens, you don't do anything. So what I want you to do is just figure out exactly where you need help. Then I'll go through all these tactics, and then I'll tie them back to the purchase funnel so you know which ones you should implement. Sound like a decent plan? Okay. Let's start out with the first one. Now, the first traditional media, as I said, to pivot was Yellow Pages, and Yellow Pages became search. I'm curious, is there anyone in this room who's never used a Yellow Pages? No? Okay, we got an adult crowd, I'll say, right? Do you use them now? Maybe to prop up your toddler, but even that, they're so thin now, right? So Yellow Pages went away, but it got replaced by search. Not that different from the music industry, which was records and 8-tracks and cassettes and CDs and then MP3s and now streaming. It's all the same thing, but it has transitioned, right? That's really the point of this entire keynote. All the things that you know are just transitioning to digital. So it's not as new and scary as you might think. So how are you ranking on the first page of Google? Do you know? Have you Googled yourself? Hey, I'm doing good. When I search for my name, I actually find myself. Great, everybody can do that. Are you ranking for your best keywords? Are you ranking for your most profitable keywords? And are you ranking in all 3 of Google's search databases? Wait, did he just say all 3 of Google's search databases? Did you guys know there were 3 Google search databases? This is the McBee nugget, all right? I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is a search that I did before I came up here for swimming pool companies in Kansas City. And the first 2 results at the very top say ad next to them because they are Google AdWords. And if someone clicks on those companies have agreed to pay Google a small fee. It's usually $1 or $2 or $3, depending on how aggressive your industry is. For attorneys, it can be like $40 or $50 a click. So if you're ever really mad at an attorney, just Google them and then start clicking on their Don't do that. Don't do that. In fact, Google has an algorithm that knows you're faking it, so they won't fall for that. But I am a big fan of this because it's at the very, very top of the page. And we are lazy. We like to click the very first thing we see that answers our question, right? We will click that because we don't have time to scroll to the bottom and keep looking. Don't believe me? The other day I was looking over my 21-year-old son's shoulder, and he went to Amazon on his phone. But he didn't go to Amazon.com or use the Amazon app, which is what I would have done. He pulled up Google and typed in Amazon. Their paid ad came up, and he clicked it, costing Amazon 30 cents or whatever. I was like, why did you do that? Why didn't you just go to Amazon? He said, this is easier. That's how 21-year-olds talk. This is easier. And so we all click on the first thing that answers our question. Now, I may have just said the very first thing that you strongly disagree with. You may be thinking to yourself, no, I scroll past that. I go down to the free section. I always do. I never click those paid ads. Well, my research indicates that you would be right. Less than 10% of people click on those ads, on those paid ads. Now, with that in mind, does it seem like a smart strategy? Would you want to advertise there? It sounds kind of terrible, right? Well, I'm gonna pay to build this big campaign. I'm gonna have it there, and people are gonna scroll right past it. Here's the problem with that. This is the nugget. Most of the time, when we are surfing the web, when we are searching on Google, we aren't shopping. Most of the time, we're just doing research, little things. The other day, I did a search for how old was Patrick Stewart when he filmed Star Trek: The Next Generation. 47, by the way, 3 years younger than I am right now, which is really weird for me. And am I going to click a paid ad? Would I click a paid ad? Even if there was a paid ad, maybe for Star Trek merchandise or whatever, that is not the answer to my question. So I'm going to scroll past that till I get to an answer, right? So the reason you feel like I never click on the paid ads is because most of the time you're not looking for what the paid ad is trying to sell you. But when the search is commercial in nature, when the person is shopping, this statistic changes dramatically. 64% of us, where's my slide? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm not going to let this rattle me. 64% of us click on paid ads when the search is commercial in nature. And guys, as business owners, isn't that who you want clicking to your website? The person who's actually shopping, the person who's looking for a product or service that you sell. And so for that reason, and because it's at the very top of the page, I believe strongly in Google AdWords. Also, forget my opinion, Google makes 90% of their income on those clicks. So if it didn't work, people wouldn't do it. This business, the swimming pool company, they've been doing this for years. And the proof that it works is that they keep doing it. You don't keep doing a campaign that's not going to work, right? Now here's that same search on a mobile device. Now notice the ad takes up the entire screen. They own all the real estate there. You got to scroll with your thumb 2 or 3 times to get past it. So if you are searching for a swimming pool company and that comes up, we're real likely to click it. It is the answer to our question. Now the second database on Google's first page is the local section, also known as Google Maps and Google My Business. Now here's what I hate about this. You have very, very little control over how you rank here. So let's say you have a business on the west side of town, and your searching for your products and services is over here on the east side of town. They're searching for swimming pool companies or whatever it is, right? But there's 2 or 3 other businesses between you and them. There's a very good chance Google is going to rank these other 2 businesses simply based on geography and proximity to the searcher. And so you have very, very little control over that. What are you going to do? Move to the east side of town? Then what happens when they search on the west side of town, right? You can't optimize that. So you have very little control here. But here's the nugget. Ready for the nugget? There are a couple of things that you can do to change that search result. Google doesn't just look at proximity. They also look at your Google My Business page. And they look to see, is this page optimized? Is it full of great content? Does it have photographs on it? Does it have a phone number, an address, a URL? So if you haven't already done so, make sure you claim your Google My Business page and work on it. Optimize it. They even added a new section to it this year where you can put a abbreviated blog right there on that Google My Business page. And if you do that, as well as getting a lot of positive reviews, those 2 things can shift the narrative and help you rank in this particular section. And then, of course, there's the organic section or the free section. This is considered to be kind of the holy grail of ranking. You want to rank number 1 right here. And there's some good reasons for that. Number 1, the clicks are free. Anybody clicks here, you get a free visit to your website, right? Also, us as consumers, we tend to feel like we trust these results a little bit more. Because Google is ranking you number one, Google must think very highly of you. You're not just paying to be there, right? So you have that trust factor. Have you guys worked hard to try and get your business to rank here? It's not easy, is it? And that is because Google changes their algorithm over 400 times a year. It's because you can't control if your competitor's web address is older than yours, which is a factor in the ranking. You can't control what your competitors are doing. You don't have time to write a 750-word article every single week to promote your business, and that's what Google wants from you. So while it's fantastic to rank here, it's also very, very challenging, and you are vulnerable to your competitors, and you are vulnerable to Google's whim. One day you might be ranking fine, the next day you might be on page 2, or 3, or 10. By the way, do you know where the best place to hide a dead body is? Page 2 of Google. Because nobody will find it. Okay. The next traditional media I want to talk about pivoting is print. I'm talking about newspaper ads, magazine display ads, billboards, right? Those things still exist, and they're still valuable, but the digital equivalent of them is display ads, or you might know them as banner ads, right? We see a lot of banner ads. We see literally hundreds of them every day. The average person is on the internet over 6 hours a day. And most of the internet is ad supported. You think about the websites that you visit or the apps you use. Most of them, unless you're paying a premium, have an ad on those pages. Here's an example of what one looks like. This is a search I recently did for places to hike. I love to hike, I love the outdoors, and there are a couple of ads there on the right. There's a video ad, and then there's a display ad. So that's what I'm talking about, is those display ads. I'm going to give you some McBee nuggets on the display ads. Here's what they look like on an app in a phone. So here I am, like checking the weather, and then the ad comes up. You guys have seen plenty of these, right? In fact, the average person sees something like 1,700 of these a week. That's how many display ads we see. Think of them as the billboards of the internet superhighway. They're really not that different from billboards. Now, the dirty little secret of display advertising is that no one clicks them. Do you guys click them? You mostly ignore them, right? The click-through rate of a paid search campaign on Google is about 3 to 6%. The click-through rate of the average display ad is 0.1%. Or said another way, if you invest in a display advertising campaign, only about 1 in 1,000 people will click your ad. That sounds very exciting, doesn't it? You're going, oh, check off display, I'm never doing that, right? But just as the other statistics could be misleading, this one can as well. The digital, or the pre-digital version of display ads was print ads and outdoor banners. What's the click-through rate on an outdoor billboard? 0, right? Nobody's going to click a billboard. Can you imagine them driving along? Oh, that's a good billboard. Oh, I'm going to climb up there and click it so I can go to their website. You'd call 911, right? Or clicking a newspaper ad or clicking a magazine ad. You can't click those. But do they work? Do they get your message out? Do people see your brand and your products and services? Are they made aware of what you offer, even if they don't click it? Absolutely. And in fact, this afternoon we're going to talk about a little stat called view-through rate, which is when a person sees your ad and goes to your website without clicking it. This search that I'm doing right here, or this activity that I'm doing, am I looking for a swimming pool right now? Am I looking for tropical smoothies? No. I'm reading about hiking. Am I going to be so motivated by your ad that I'm going to stop what I'm doing and go do something else? Probably not. The reason we don't click is because we're busy doing other things. If I go to this app and I'm checking the weather, am I going to click the ad? No, I want to know if it's going to rain. Do I need to put the top on my Jeep today, right? That's what is valuable to me in that moment, not the ad itself. And so I'm just going to move on. But even if a display ad isn't clicked, it's still seen, which means it's valuable. It still has an impact on you. And I'm going to prove it. Fingers crossed this works, all 4 of them. Can anyone tell me the name of the business that was advertising on all those pages I just shared with you? Paula's Pools, yes, and Tropical Cafe. You're absolutely right, Paula's Pools. Did you click it? Nope. Nope. But you remembered it, right? And it was only on the screen 4 times and only for a few seconds each time, which isn't that different from a real display ad on a real computer screen. Although in a display campaign, we tend to show 20 or 30 or even 40 ads to our prospects. And so for those of you who didn't remember that it was Paula's Pools, had I shown it to you 20 more times, do you think you would have? And this guy's like, nah, I don't know, because you're not looking for a pool, right? That leads us to the other little nugget that I'm going to give you. Oh, there's proof that it was Paula's Pools. The other little nugget that I want to give you is this. Display ads are more powerful today than they ever have been, and they're more powerful than their pre-digital counterparts because of data, because of targeting. This is where it gets really good. We tend to remember things that are relevant to us. So if you're surfing the web and you see an ad for swimming pools and you're not interested in swimming pools, you're barely going to register it. But if I can show my ads only to people who are the right target market, more of them are going to remember it. So today, most display ads come with data so that they can target a relevant audience, meaning less wasted ads. You're only showing your ads to the right people at the right time who are in the purchase funnel or that you feel you can put into the purchase funnel. The technology is so good. Are there any new parents in the room? Any new parents? Okay, she's a little embarrassed. What kind of ads do you see these days? Lots of baby products? Diapers, toys, formula, right? That kind of thing? Okay. Anybody else a new parent? Do you see the same kind of ads? Anyone else seen baby diaper stuff on their when they're surfing the web? You see where I'm going with this, right? My kids are 15 and 21. I haven't seen a baby ad in forever because they don't have to waste that ad on me anymore. They're able to find the new parents and put ads in front of them. Instead, I get ads for hearing aids. Did one search for tinnitus ringing in my ears, and now I'm getting hearing aids. And I was like, no, it's because I have a 15-year-old daughter. I'm not losing my hearing, it's just ringing. The technology is so good today, guys, that we can show ads to people who have been on the web searching for the products and services that you sell. We can show your ads to people whose location data on their smartphone indicates that they went to your competitor's store. Or maybe you want to target a parade or an event. We can draw a geofence around an area like that and put ads in front of the people who entered that specific geofence. And we can target people based on offline data, their demographic profile. So if you want to target men or women or families or people who make a certain income or are homeowners, we can do that as well. So that is display, and even though the click-through rate is kind of terrible, that's why I kind of love it. Now the next one is social media. Now I don't have a pre-digital version of social media up here, but hold that thought. Social media is one, when I got to it, I was like, do I need to explain social media to these people? And my answer was no, we don't. We all have been into Facebook and Instagram and the Snap Talk and Twitter Talk. I'm kidding, I'm doing that on purpose. I know it's Snapchat and TikTok. I'm not on them, but we know how social media works, right? So what McBee nugget can I give you? Well, do you guys think that there is a pre-digital version of social media, or is it just something new that has emerged in the last 10 years? Can you think of anything before the internet came along that was similar to social media? Gossiping. Okay. Any other answers?
Water cooler at work.
Water cooler at work, kinda? My opinion is that the pre-digital version of social media is social networking. Now think about this. Chamber breakfasts, Better Business Bureau happy hours, networking events like this. They're very similar to social media because you want to get your business out there, you want to get your brand out there. And I'd like to kind of prove this idea with a little example. Can I have a volunteer? Anybody want to come up here with me? Come on, it's real easy. Come on up. Thank you. Is this hot yet? Okay. What's your name?
Bobby.
Bobby, say hello.
Hello.
Everyone, Bobby, everyone.
Hi, Bobby.
And what's your business?
I'm with the business Kearney Visitors Bureau.
Okay, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pretend we're at a networking event of some kind. Do you ever attend those? What do you go to?
This.
Okay, all right.
And we do conferences with other CVBs and visitors bureaus and chambers and that type of thing.
All right, and when you go to those, you have some coffee, you have some small talk, things like that. Let's assume you've just been doing that with your friends. You walk away, you're alone, and I approach you thusly. You ready? Okay. Hello, my name is Dave. How are you?
Hello, Dave.
It's good to meet you. What's your name?
My name is Bobby.
Bobby, I just bought a brand new insurance agency. I am now a proud American Family Insurance agent, yes. And we insure boats and cars and homes and motorcycles. You look like you drive a motorcycle, do you?
How did you know?
Oh my gosh, you do? Awesome. Okay, well listen, hey, I'm so excited to meet you. Here's my business card, and here's some flyers I had printed up. And I was hoping that we could connect later. I'm doing free evaluations, and I think I could save you a bunch of money on whatever you're doing now. Does that sound good? Yeah? Yeah? Oh, and get your phone out, scan this. This is my QR code so we can be friends on LinkedIn. All right, thank you very much. That's awesome. And it was good meeting you. Thank you so much. There's a lot of people here, so I got to run, but I will give you a call and we'll get together, okay?
Okay.
Thanks. So, Bobby, how are you feeling about me?
You're a little over the top and not really asking questions about me, just assuming and just kind of giving me the pitch.
Do you want to do business with me? Probably not?
You're friendly, but not particularly.
Do you really have a motorcycle? So, what did I do wrong?
Just too aggressive and then off. Didn't really kind of ask questions or get to feel who the person is, what their needs were.
Everyone, Bobby, thank you very much. Now, I didn't do anything wrong per se, did I, or rude? I was just kind of socially unaware. Right? Wouldn't you agree? Yes. Because the whole point of an event like that we were at isn't to make sales. It's to build relationships, right? If I had gotten to know Bobby and we got into talking, we might find some common ground, right? We might discover both of our daughters play softball, or we both like hiking, or whatever it might be, right? And then later on, when she wants to reevaluate her insurance, she might think, man, that guy I met at the chamber meeting, he was really nice and he does insurance, I'm going to give him a call. Or she might meet someone who needs insurance. You're like, yeah, call that guy, he's really nice. But as that interaction went, are you going to refer me to anyone? Are you ever going to call me? I screwed up bad. Now, the reason I put you through that little charade is because that is what I see most businesses doing on social media. They forget that they're there to build relationships. You're not going to social media to make a sale. Stop doing that. I don't go to social media to buy stuff. I go to be entertained, to laugh, to smile, to learn something new, and to engage with my friends. So I want you to stop putting salesy messages on your social media. I want you to stop trying to constantly get money from the people who are fans and followers. Instead, I want you to use the 3 E's, okay? Make all of your posts should be entertaining, educational, and engaging, okay? And if you can do that, you're going to get more followers. They're going to stick around. They're going to like your content. And then when they need your product or service, they're going to remember you. That's how you do social media. Now, that's not to say you can't buy ads on social media, and those ads can be sales messages, but as a general rule, your organic social media should follow the 3 E's. Now, the next thing is radio. Anybody here do radio? I love radio. Radio is a very powerful way of reaching an audience that's either driving to work, or maybe they listen at work. They're captive. The content stops, the ad comes on, and then the content continues. So it can't really be ignored per se, right? Now, the obvious digital pivot for radio is streaming audio and podcasts. Any podcast listeners in here? Yes? Raise your hand real high if you're a podcast listener. Look, if you're not advertising on podcasts, you're missing out on all those great prospects right there, right? So, streaming audio is all about, hey, we're going to have to do another pivot. Hang on, sorry. My PowerPoint's actually crashed. It's okay, it's coming back. I got the little spinning wheel of death here, hang on. Oh boy. Nothing I click works. All right, here we go. We're going to force quit. Thanks for being patient, guys. I'm so sorry this happened. That's where you say something encouraging to me. Okay, I think it's ready. All right, sorry about that. The digital version of radio is advertising on streaming services like these, Pandora, Spotify, and of course I consider podcasts the talk radio of 2021, right? It's the same product, it's a radio message, an audio commercial, but it's in a digital format. There's not that much more to say about that. That's also true of traditional TV. Now, traditional TV, which used to be broadcast over an antenna or through a cable or satellite, is now becoming streaming TV. And the pandemic really brought us all over to the world of streaming. Now, I know I've asked you to raise your hands a couple times. I'm going to do it one more time. Raise your hand real high if you stream your television. So almost everyone in the room? Okay. Did we all watch The Tiger King when the pandemic first started, right? And we all kind of got sucked in, and now we have Netflix and Disney Plus and HBO Max and Pluto and Hulu, and our streaming $5.99 services are now costing us more than cable ever did, right? But you as an advertiser, this is really great news, because you can move from traditional media to streaming television, and you can take advantage of that. Now, there are some things that come with the traditional TV that are great, which is you get this broad reach. If you are advertising on the news or Ellen or whatever it might be, you're going to reach a lot of people. Now, again, most of those ads will be wasted because you're not really able to target it. But with traditional or with streaming television, we can now add data and target a relevant audience. So you can only show your TV commercial to a person whose behavior, location data, or demographic is ideal for you. You can really pick and choose who sees your commercial. And it gets better. You can actually show a TV commercial to someone in their home, and then if they come to your store, we can measure that foot traffic. Now, I won't go into all the details on how that works. It's a little complicated, but we literally can show a commercial to a prospect, and if they show up at your store, we can report that they came. That's how cool streaming TV can be. And by the way, it's cheaper than it's ever been. Usually TV was really expensive. You'd have to spend $5,000 or $10,000 to run a TV campaign. Now you can run a TV campaign for $1,000 or more, or around $1,000 or higher, right? So it's a lot of opportunity. And of course, TV commercials are the end-all and be-all because they interrupt you. You can't skip them. You're not moving. You're going to stay there because you want to know what happens next. So if you've ever considered doing television in the past, or if you're doing traditional TV, you've got to make that digital pivot to connected TV. And then the last of the traditional medias I want to talk about is direct mail. I love direct mail. I think direct mail of all of the traditional medias is the one that actually used a little bit of data to target people even 5 or 10 years ago, right? Because I get a Jeep catalog in my mailbox every couple of months, and I open it, I look at it, I shop, sometimes I buy something, right? My next door neighbor doesn't get that Jeep catalog. My other next door neighbor doesn't get that Jeep catalog. They're able to use data to show a relevant audience their ad, right? But the problem with direct mail is I only get the piece once, maybe once a month. And classic advertising information tells us that a person needs to see an ad 18 to 20 times before they even notice it. So direct mail has a bit of a disadvantage there, right? The digital equivalent today is something called addressable geofencing. Now, if that sounds complicated, it kind of is. Basically, the way it works is we take a list of people. It could be your list of prospects, your list of customers, or we can create a list based on demographics. We upload it into a system that then draws an imaginary fence around every home on the list. And then when we see a smartphone inside that home, we can start showing it ads. And thanks to a little technology called cross-device matching, we can show ads on the smartphone and the laptop and the tablet and the connected TV. So if you like direct mail, addressable geofencing is like direct mail on steroids. It's fantastic. Now, to give you an example, I decided to build an audience just to show you what we could do. This is the audience I built for a swimming pool company in Kansas City. I thought to myself, well, who's their perfect prospect? Well, I think the person should be in a single family home, because I don't want to show my ads to people who live in apartments or duplexes or retirement communities. They just can't buy a pool, right? I think that the home should be on a half-acre lot or bigger, so there's room for a pool. The value of the home, I said, well, let's shoot for a high-valued home and a high income at the house, because my pools are expensive, right? Let's not show our ads to people who are in little homes with little budgets, right? And in fact, let's put a filter on this list and take out anyone who already has a pool. And now I know there are 13,906 homes that qualify to see my ads in the Kansas City area. How cool is that, right? Now you might be thinking, but swimming pool companies might want to show their ads to people who already have a swimming pool, because they need chemicals and maintenance packages and such, right? And so I ran another list of homes that already have pools in Kansas City, and there are 16,000 of them. So a swimming pool company wanting to reach this target audience can buy addressable geofencing and put 20, 30 ads in front of the people on all of their devices. That takes us back to the purchase funnel. Remember, I asked you to pick and choose where you were struggling? Now let's tie it back and see what happens. The traditional version of the purchase funnel kind of looks like this. TV and radio and outdoor and print, they really get the word out. They make people aware of your product, right? But when a person shows some interest in your product or service, now before the internet, they would talk to their friends, right? Remember when you had to talk to a salesperson to learn about a product or service? Aren't we glad that's gone, right? Or you'd get a catalog. We actually used catalogs to learn about products and services before the internet came along. And then when you wanted to buy, you opened up the yellow pages, you made a phone call, or you went into the store, and then of course loyalty was created with repeat sales and word of mouth. The digital equivalent of that, the digital pivot of that, looks like this. Display, audio, and video, even without that targeting, really create awareness. They get people to know about your product or service, right? Addressable geofencing, social media, these things use a little bit of data so that you can reach people a little lower in the purchase funnel. And then of course, when a person's ready to buy, we always search. We always do a little bit of research. Can you imagine buying a car today without the internet? Like, how hard would it be to figure out what car you wanted, what cars are well ranked, and all those things? You'd have to go buy a print copy of Consumer Reports. Remember that? We use search, and so if you are trying to reach people at the bottom of this purchase funnel, you've got to rank well on Google. You have to, or you're going to completely miss them. And then social really plays its big role in the loyalty section, right? After you've sold to them, after they've become a customer, you want them to follow you on social, hit them up with the 3 E's, and then you can keep top of mind, and you can be there when they're ready to buy again or when they're ready to refer you to someone else. So And then there's another little tactic called retargeting. We really didn't talk much about that. That's when you show ads to people who came to your website, and that brings them back, right? You guys have had that happen. You go to Nordstrom's, you find some sweet shoes. I don't need those shoes. You go about your life. The shoes keep following you around. You finally buy the shoes. They win, right? So that's what the digital version of the purchase funnel looks like. So, did we cover the topic? Do you think that this is going to help you make the digital pivot for your business? Were some of those nuggets helpful to you? I hope they were. If we had a little more time, I would just open it up for Q&A, and maybe I can do that later this afternoon. But I am going to stick around. I brought my team with me, Team Wave. This is my team from Kansas City, and we're going to be giving away free digital assessments today. So during the break or after the presentation is over, go talk to these guys. They'll pull up your website and they'll let you know some of those things that I would have let you know if we were one-on-one. Do you have a secure URL? What's your mobile website look like? Things like that. We're doing these free assessments all day. Josh, by the way, we've been doing business together for 20 years. He's a AdWords guru. Ryan, wave. Ryan's a Nebraska native. We got a woo. And Morgan's our social media expert. And then I'll just leave you with this. I'm not going to give you my card or make you scan my phone, but I would like to connect with you on LinkedIn, and I would like you to have access to me later. Hopefully, if you just Google David McBee, you'll find me, if I'm doing my job right. But I have my own website at davidmcbee.com as well. And so, like I said, I'll be around, and I hope that you guys will come up and say hello. Thank you very much.